So my Z Flip 6 has officially stopped working. Inside display is dead. I went to the shop and they're denying me warranty. Now, be noted, I don't have Samsung Care, but they are denying me my warranty coverage, but I got something for them. A little known hack. I'm gonna go ahead and try it right now, see what happens. Ladies and gentlemen, they will cover me. All I did was show them my Second Amendment and they are down for giving me a new device. So, goes to show, you know, you gotta sometimes be a little bit more persuasive. So yes, my Z Flip 6 actually ended up breaking, and it wasn't the outer display, it was the inner display. And all of it happened without any warning. Over the past 2 months of using this phone, it's been in pristine condition. There's a piece of metal that chipped off right here because I dropped it. This just happened last week where my inner display, this inside screen, just stopped working. Like for some reason, I couldn't touch it anymore. So basically what happened, I wake up in the morning and you know, I go on my phone and everything is working fine, but for some reason there's like little periods, like a minute or two, where my fingerprint isn't registering on the device itself. In other words, when I touch it and try to do something, it isn't doing anything. It's just like not even registering my touch. But then I restart the device, it works, and I'm good to go. So I keep going like that, and throughout the day, these like sort of instances of no touch started to increase, and by 8 p.m. it was absolutely dead. So 8 p.m. I'm done all my classes, I'm coming home from school, I sit in my car, and literally nothing is working. I can't tap in, I can't, even after like restarting it 50 times, it still didn't work. And I'm not even exaggerating. I think it was like 52 times where I restarted this device and it's still not registering any of my touches. What's interesting is everything was still working. So I could still use Samsung Wallet or Google Wallet on the garage to get actually out of the garage. The fingerprint scanner was working, the volume up and down buttons were working, and the Bluetooth was working because I connected it to my car, and all of the animations on the display were working. So everything was working except for touch sensitivity. I was touching all over the place, it just wouldn't register my touch. Now, the funny thing is as well that the outer display was working perfectly fine. Now, obviously it's been reset. I'm gonna get into the whole fix later. The outer display was also perfectly fine. You just can't do everything with the outer display. You can't get into your settings or anything like that on the outside. You need to use the inner display. And so this was time to get the phone checked out. And what you need to know is all of this happened in the span of one day. It started at 9 a.m. when I woke up and started noticing these glitches, and by 8 p.m. it was dead completely. And more importantly, this could happen to you and you don't even know it. It's not about dropping your phone, it's not about folding or bending it too hard. You literally can't even tell, so stay tuned and find out more. Now, this was the first time I was getting Samsung repairs done because none of my phones have ever had any kind of issue where I needed to go to Samsung. But this time I went to Samsung.com and I registered my device for warranty. Like, I literally never go. So this was the first time I was registering my device, and obviously I had warranties, the Z Flip 6, and the warranty lasts until July 25th of next year. So I had a whole year going, but the warranty covered very specific things. Obviously drop damage was not included. One thing to note, I don't have Samsung Care. I don't personally believe in having to buy insurance for your phone unless you are someone, you know, you're clumsy, you're gonna drop your phone, you've done it before with your devices, then sure, go ahead, do whatever you think is best. But for me, I've gone through a ton of phones and I've never cracked my phone. Like, I've never dropped it accidentally or left it behind or lost it. None of that's happened with me. Now, I may be jinxing it, but I have a long history of phone usage. So I don't believe in having to buy Samsung Care or Apple Care or any of that garbage when you get a phone. Like, warranties should cover any factory defects, and anything that I do is on me. So that's what I go into this with. I'm only using warranty, and basically that's what I did on the website. I went onto the website, I typed in the IMEI number, it basically registered my device, and then they said, what do you want to do? I basically chose open a service request, and they asked me, okay, what do you want to do? Do you want to send it in to us, or do you want to do it at a location? Now, Samsung has a ton of locations. They're not Samsung stores, they are authorized fixing retailers, basically. That's what they are. So the store that I went to was You Break, I Fix. It was really close to me, so I was like, all right, I'll just go here. I signed up for an appointment the next day, and I showed up. Basically, as soon as I went inside, this old chap comes up to me. Not old, he was younger than me, but this chap comes in and he's like, all right, what's going on? What's with your phone, Vam? And I literally handed him my phone. I was like, hello?
Hello.
here you go. And he, took it, all right, okay, yeah. He went to the back. He comes out, he's like, well, I don't have the parts. I'm gonna have to overnight the parts, and so just come back tomorrow. I was like, all right. Now the lucky thing is I have another phone, so I wasn't in a crazy rush. But remember this, if you have a black or white or one of those normal colors of the Z Flip 6 or any other phone, more than likely your phone will be able to be worked on that same day if you go into a location. But if you have a special color like mint green or peach or one of those, it might take a while because they will need to overnight one of those parts. But basically that day passed. So Wednesday, my phone dies. Wednesday night, I set up an appointment for Thursday. Thursday, I go into the location and they say, come back tomorrow. We're gonna have to overnight the parts. Friday, I arrive and he literally takes my phone from me. Literally no verbiage, no sign. You don't need to sign anything. I didn't even ask him about the warranty yet. He didn't even tell me a price quote, nothing. The man just took my phone and was like, sayonara, and that was basically it. 2 hours later, I get a call from the shop. Guy calls me in, hello? Your phone's ready. You want to come down and pick it up? It's all good. I was like, it's been 2 hours, so I was like, oh, maybe it was just a software issue. Maybe it was a very slippery software bug that this last software update had that is causing a lot of known issues that have particularly been specific to the inner display not being responsive. So this is a common issue with the latest display. So in my head, I'm thinking that's what happened. He just did like a software update or something and it's all fixed. I go in and oh boy, he did a little bit more than that. I may have gotten very lucky because if you guys have been watching the series, you know there was this very specific clicking noise that was coming from my phone, which basically is now gone because he replaced the hinge, the frame, and the screen, and all of the guts. He's like, literally the only thing that's left on this phone that's still from the older phone is this back plate, this upper display, and this camera hardware. That's it. Everything else I replaced. I was like, well, that's awesome. Okay, so I basically, in my head, I'm getting a fresh new device. Now the time comes, I'm like, all right, so he hasn't talked about the warranty yet. He hasn't talked about Samsung Care. What do I owe you? Do I need to pay you anything? Is there any charge on your services? And the man says, no, you just go home. And obviously I'm not ready to go home yet. Literally the first day I showed up, he's like, hello, okay, thank you, come back again. And the next day I show up, he's like, all right, just take your phone and go home. Literally that's all he told me, no information at all. I'm like, all right, so you're gonna have to talk to me a little bit. What exactly went wrong with the phone? What do you think? What did you see go wrong? He's like, so in this phone specifically, it was the digitizer that just failed. I'm like, is this normal? Is this common for Samsung devices? And he's like, it's not really common, although we have been seeing this happen with the Z Flip 6s. Should this be headlines? I don't know. In the USA, in the American market, the digitizer is apparently failing a lot more than usual, a lot more than other Samsung devices on the Z Flip 6. Now, what could this mean? First of all, it could mean that you are getting a fresh, maybe an updated digitizer behind the display, and it's failing because it's using some new technology that wasn't tested enough. It could also mean that Samsung is using digitizers from like previous models, and those are just dying now, which I don't think is the case because we're also using a thicker glass, and so I think it is a new digitizer that maybe wasn't tested enough. But that's all he said. He's like, the digitizer was the issue and I replaced that and I replaced everything else as well, and that was it. Your phone was good to go. So the digitizer was the thing that failed, which does make sense because like I said, everything else, the animations, the volume up and down button, the Bluetooth, everything else was working. So the digitizer did fail on me randomly. Now I did ask him, okay, so I dropped my phone. I didn't tell him I dropped my phone. I didn't tell him I didn't drop my phone, but I didn't tell him I did either. I didn't lie, basically. He didn't ask me, but I'm like, when you do this warranty test, don't you check if I dropped my phone? Like, aren't there indicators in my phone that tell you if I dropped it or not? He's like, yeah, I checked that and everything checked out. Guys, I dropped this phone on a road, okay, outside on the road from pocket height. I'm 6'3", so it went a distance. It was a distant drop, and it wasn't like some, nice and soft landing. When I tell you, a whole piece of metal on this corner just chipped off. Now, luckily, the whole phone looked good, so there wasn't any like major damage anywhere. It was just a chip kind of in the corner of the frame, right above the hinge, like right there, that chipped off. And obviously I was gonna update in my 3-month later video, but obviously that's not gonna happen now because that whole thing just changed. But it goes to show that maybe the damage, maybe that drop damage, like dropping it from this height, that isn't gonna cause your warranty to go out, obviously, but also dropping it from like a regular height, especially if you have a case on your phone, is going to protect your phone. Now, I do have the cases that I use linked down below, and I did have a case on my device, by the way. So there was a case, but the cases that I use don't protect the hinge. So that's why the whole thing chipped off, was because the case doesn't protect back here. It only protects these like side and corner areas. So just keep that in mind. Like when they say drop damage, it's gonna be like a substantial drop for it to be able to void the warranty. Now, as far as the money, because like so far we haven't talked about how much money has gone into it, but so far we also haven't talked about contracts. Like I literally signed nothing. Even when I dropped my phone off at the location, I signed nothing. He just took it to the back, and he was like, yeah, just I'll call you. 2 hours later, he's like, come back please. And that was it. As far as Samsung's involvement in this entire process, it was literally all online. Not a single email from them either. I just went online, signed into their warranty page with my device and opened a service request, and then I went to their authorized retailer. They took care of it, and the only other email I got from Samsung was, how was our service repair request, or how was the whole service process, and rated out of 5 stars. Like that was it. They didn't do anything else. Now obviously all of this took literally 2 days, but if I had a regular color, it would have taken 1 day, same day, even 2 hours, same exact day, if I had the issue happen in the morning and I could get to the location like by the afternoon time. So the time that they fix these phones with are very fast. The other thing that you need to keep in mind is the review of the location you're going to. The location that I went to has like a 4.9 star review. Okay, so it's a location that a lot of people go to. It has a lot of good reviews, and even though the dude's a simple guy, like a simple, really cool guy, he fixed the whole thing. Everything looks as good as new, and I know it's not new, but it looks just as good. Now, before we conclude, ladies and gentlemen, please do smash that subscribe button. It really helps grow a channel like The Chilled Fossil, and you get to be submitted into our monthly giveaway. So if you want to check out the giveaway, definitely smash the subscribe button, and you have to also follow us on Instagram. Doing these 2 acts is going to get you 1 entry every single month into the giveaways forever, basically. And we're going to be announcing the winner on Instagram and the prizes that you get. It is open worldwide, so it doesn't matter if you're in Brazil or China, or if you're anywhere else, you're basically entered. So the conclusion is, ladies and gentlemen, you do not need Samsung Care as long as it's not your fault. That's something to keep in mind. If you are, like I said, if you're clumsy with your devices, if you're someone who has a history of dropping and smashing your devices, get Samsung Care. Okay, do it for yourself. But if you are someone who takes care of their devices, like, you don't drop your devices, you keep them in generally good condition. This is almost 2 years old now. It's the S23. It's still in almost perfect condition. The screen, it hasn't a single scratch on it. Obviously, there's a ton of, micro scratches. It's a Ultra, so that's a really common feature of the Ultras. They got a ton of micro scratches. But as long as you keep generally good care of your devices, you don't drop them, you don't crack them, and you have a case on them, the warranty should be more than enough, especially from Samsung, to cover you in North America. So in Canada, USA, you should be more than covered when it comes to Samsung warranty, as long as it's not your fault. Now, as far as the Z Flip 6 specifically is concerned, there is, like I said, there is something going on with the inner display digitizer being bad. Now with me, like I said, the touch display was completely gone. It was not touch sensitive at all. But that's not the only thing that goes wrong with the digitizer. Sometimes it can be half the display that just stops responding. Sometimes it can even be dead pixels and things like that that go wrong, and that is not your fault as well. So like I said, if you've had those issues and it's not your fault, and I'm only saying this because a lot of you guys have brought these concerns in the comment section below, then definitely open a warranty case and go to a center and have it checked out. It doesn't do you any harm, and you are in line, and maybe you even deserve to get a new device. Definitely go check it out. And what I do like personally, Samsung made the process very easy. Like, I pay for all of these devices, so it's not like these are devices that Samsung sent to me. These are basically pre-orders that I did, shared it with you guys, and so this is an issue. This is the first time I had an issue with the Samsung device, but my overall take on the Samsung repair process is that it was pretty fantastic, and I would love to do it again. Just kidding. It was unusually informal, I'll say that. Like I said, not a single contract was signed. Dude didn't like go through the warranty or anything like that, in front of me at least. Obviously he did say I checked the IMEI in the back, so he did do, you know, make sure that I had warranty and that it was covered and that it was my phone. So he did, you know, make sure all of that was there, but he didn't, you know, really even want to talk to me. So it was just like, yeah, you know, please leave. Pretty cool, dude. I like people like that, though. I like people like that. All right. Until next time, take it easy. Peace.